Good morning and welcome to Entrepreneurs Hour, right here on WRFR 93.3 FM. Every week on Entrepreneurs Hour, we dive into stories of triumphs, challenges, and lessons learned, highlighting how local organizations and individuals are working together to foster a thriving business ecosystem right here in Knox County and beyond. Whether you're starting a business, growing one, or supporting the local entrepreneurial community, this show is exactly for you. Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Austin. I'm your host and president of Ardea, proud sponsor of this show. Ardea is located in Rockport, and we help small businesses and nonprofits with bookkeeping, large-scale accounting, payroll, payment solutions, and tax services. I'm also the president of the Rock Coast Entrepreneurs and a member of the NSBA Leadership Council, representing Maine small business community on a local, state, and national level. I created the show to help entrepreneurs navigate the complexities of running a small business by providing a platform where entrepreneurs can share their journeys and highlight some amazing partners in our region, showcasing the impactful ways they're helping small businesses and entrepreneurs succeed. Let's learn, inspire, and support one another as we continue to build a stronger small business community together. Now, let's get started with today's show. Hi, everyone. Your host here, Chris Austin with Entrepreneurs Hour. My apologies. You're going to start viewing this video and you're going to see that it cuts off because our technology failed a little bit this morning when we were recording. But please continue to listen in to the conversation and really just hear her story, Tonya Carter with Salty Waves. It's such an inspiring story and I hope that you enjoy it. Have a wonderful day. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It is a beautiful, warmer day than what it has been for a couple of weeks now, but we love winter here in Maine. So I just want to first start off today. Hi, everyone. This is Chris Austin speaking, your host, and I just want to talk about the station here, WRFR. Radio, 93.3 WRFR. This is a small station, a nonprofit, and looking for opportunities to be supported by folks of our community. If you're a business, if you're an individual, please reach out to the station. We would love to have your support so we can continue to have programs such as this on the radio and other wonderful, basically shows that we have here on WRFR. Radio, 93.3 WRFR. This is a small station, a nonprofit, and looking for opportunities to be supported by folks of our community. If you're a business, if you're an individual, please reach out to the station. We would love to have your support so we can continue to have programs such as this on the radio and other wonderful basically shows that we have here on WRFR. So thank you very much to all the sponsors for being able to do that. And I would just say it's a wonderful opportunity. There's a sponsorship opportunity also coming up for the Knox County Business News Hour, which starts February 11th, and we'll follow up with, it'll follow the Entrepreneurs Hour. And basically what this hour will be, it'll be for business news, where you can share let's say that you have a promotion on your team or you have something that's going on that's special. Maybe you're relocating, which we're going to talk about today with today's guest, or you have a ribbon cutting that's coming up. Maybe you have a brand new business that folks just need to learn about or know about. If you know of business news that would be beneficial to all, I would say share that story. So you can message us through Facebook, and we'll take those and we'll start reading those on the February 11th. And we're also going to have some folks coming in to be able to share some business news as well. All right, so we're going to go on to our show today. So welcome to show number 16. Who knew that? I was talking to Tonya Carter, today's guest. She's the owner of Salty Waves Salon, and it was crazy. It was just, last fall when I just talked to someone through some business networking and said, we need to have a show like this. And next thing you know, Here we are. Show number 16 has flown by quickly. But I really want to just talk to you, just tell everyone that, Tanya, I had reached out to a couple of months ago. She's very busy. She's very successful, and she's got a great story to tell. She's the owner of Salty Waves Salon right in Rockland. And we're going to talk today about her journey, her move to a new location, and some of those wonderful concepts of maybe understanding why you chose buying versus renting. And so we'll have those type of those topics today. So Tanya, let's get started. So tell us a little bit about yourself, about Salty Waves, and we'd like to have like a high level, and then we're going to dig in more, obviously, to your journey. But so tell us a little bit about you and Salty Waves.
So I am a mom of 4. I always took care of the 4 kids and worked part-time while my husband worked full-time plus, but was always a cosmetologist.
Okay.
So that worked for me because it had the flexibility that I needed to still be a mom and do what I loved. So I always worked for other people, and then decided when the kids got older it was time to do it on my own.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Tanya, what inspired you to start a career in the hair industry over 20 years ago?
I have wanted to be a hairdresser since I can remember as far back as 2nd grade.
Okay.
My aunts, which my father had there was 16 of them, and I still remember my aunts lining up, and I would French braid their hair when I was in the 2nd grade. I just always loved it. They say it's not something that, my great-grandfather and my grandfather were barbers.
Okay.
But I wasn't raised around them. So, but I don't know, it was in the blood, and I chose to do it. Yeah, and I was all set to do it. My senior year in high school, that's what I was going to do when I graduated. And then other things happened, and it didn't happen right away. So I became a mom and raised my kids, and then decided at the age of 30 it was time to do what I wanted to do.
Is that when you went to cosmetology?
It was.
That's when you went to school.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So did you start off like renting booths? Like how does that journey start for a stylist after they graduate? The family's there to support them, say, yes, you did it. And now you got to go out there and start.
Yeah.
So it's not easy, right?
It is not easy. You think that you're amazing, when you first get done.
Sure.
And you get out and realize you don't know nothing. You learned nothing in school but the basics. Mm-hmm. So I had a really great friend that owned a salon, and I thought halfway through cosmetology school that I was going to open my own salon immediately after graduation.
Sure.
Then I realized that wasn't for me. So I contacted her, and she hired me way before I even graduated. And that's where I learned everything. Kathy Hammer her and Heather Soper they worked at Bad Hair Days in Waldoboro. And at the time, you rent space. That's what my there was. So you don't make a lot of money. Yeah. You just don't. And I was in Waldoboro. So your location is huge too, and you learn that through the overtime too. So everything I learned, I give to them, and then I realized I wanted more. I wanted more education. I wanted more clientele, different clientele.
Right.
So I then became an employee instead, and came over to the Rockland area, and worked at another local salon for a few years, and that didn't fit with my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, this isn't for me, and I got done. And that lasted about 6 months, and I missed it. So then I went to a different salon that was just freshly starting, and I'm like, this is pretty risky. I don't think I can do this. But that salon took off like wildfire, and you have to put in a lot of work before you make any money being a hairdresser. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You think I'm going to get out and make $100 an hour, and that doesn't happen.
Right, because you got to build a clientele.
You've got to build that clientele, and you got to. I tell all my employees, you've got to continue your education, or you'll never build a clientele, because you're going to be stuck in the same ways, and trends change all the time, so you've got to, and living in Maine, there's nothing here for us for education. Since COVID, it's better because everything's online now.
Sure.
So, but yeah, I've traveled everywhere to continue my education.
Yeah, and there's always that someone that comes in and says, "Hey, can you make my hair look like this?" And you're like,
Yeah.
But you're, I would come to you and say, "Hey, listen, I would love to grow a mullet," and you're like, "Chris, I think times have changed for you." Like,
Yes.
So how that tell? Okay, that was a bad joke. All right.
Yeah.
So just so you obviously moved on and then tell us about the journey of like that next step that made you, because it sounds like you had that taste of entrepreneurial, like you wanted to be an entrepreneur at a very young age. You wanted to do that right out of school, just like a lot of people, especially in the trades. Like, it doesn't matter what type of trade that you're in. You want to go out and you want to start making the money for your own because you see everybody driving or the nice vehicles or the nice salons, and you're like, I want that.
I sure did.
But it took time, and
It sure did.
then you open up Salty Waves. Is that how it works?
Yes. So at the other salon that I left right before this, it was almost 9 years ago now, actually next month. I was the manager. I was a full-time stylist. I was running their business, so it was, and I loved it there. I swore I was going to stay there forever.
Yeah.
But again, I was working really hard, and it wasn't mine. And I still had that drive in the back, like, no, I'm going to try this. So the building that I bought went up for sale, and I had brought my dog there to be groomed.
Oh, that's
and
right.
I always
it was
thought,
a dog groomer
yes,
downstairs.
I always thought that building would be perfect. So it was scary. It was darn scary, and my husband supported me 100% and backed me up, and my parents were amazing with helping. They were there at the beginning, my mom punching everything into the computer system for me, all the product coming in.
Yeah.
And so hence I just took the deep dive and did it.
It's a scary dive, isn't it?
It is. And the owners were amazing.
Were they?
Because I was scared. I was very scared. I knew how to run a salon. I knew how to run a business. But to financially take that risk was very scary. But he leased me the building for 6 months
Okay.
so that I could make sure, because I was so scared, just to make sure it would pan out, that my clients were going to follow. Because you think you have a great following, but,
Right.
Is it the salon or is it you? You don't know until you do it.
Yeah.
So, So within 3 months, it proved to be amazing, and we started the proceedings at that point.
That's awesome. So, it's that actually, basically goes right into my next question is, so you had those clients, you took that leap of faith to start your business, so you had some really loyal clientele. So how does someone build such loyalty with their customers for them to be able to move with you and to take the deep dive into, okay, I'm with you.
Right. Time. A lot of time. I mean, you've obviously, the number one thing I always tell my employees as well, communication. You have to be able to communicate with them, understand what they want, be honest with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, if I come in with this picture showing a mohawk, I'm not going to say, well, let's try this.
Right.
And sell you this product and that product. I'm not that way. I am honest and have always stated, you come in with this Farrah Fawcett hair, but you have very fine, thin hair. It's not going to happen. But let's try it this way. We can do something similar. You just honesty and great communication, and you build that relationship and friendship with your clients.
And it's pretty tough to tell someone, sorry, that's just not going to work.
It's very tough, and most people don't like, 50-50. You might never see that person again
Okay.
because you were honest with them.
Yeah.
But a lot of people like that you are honest with them.
Well, today's day and age is something that's really, really important is that trust,
Right.
be able to build that trust. But people love honesty, and that's how trust is developed, right?
Right.
So, you're known for traveling to stay on top of your craft. Can you share some of the most impactful education or training experiences that you've had?
Yeah, I'd love to say California to Los Angeles, but I didn't love it there. I didn't love that education. Florida is Orlando. The first weekend of June every year is a huge convention for hairdressers. Well, the cosmetology world. That is the best education that I have ever gotten.
Okay.
Is down there. There's just everything, the top trends, or especially for a girl from Maine where we don't get a lot of education. This is what I usually do. I choose what do I want to target on this year? And a lot of things, for example, last year it was brides. I wanted to up my game with my bridal updos.
Okay.
So those are the classes I took for 3 days to try to learn new techniques or newer styles, because those change every year as well.
Yeah.
Curly hair is another hard sell around here, because if you don't have curly hair, it's very hard to know what to do with it. So I always try to stay up on my game on the curly hair. Just things like that.
We're not talking about perms.
No. For people that have curly hair, most people don't know that. Everyone's like, oh, I want that. But when you have curly hair,
right,
it's very, very hard to learn how to love your hair without it looking crazy all the time.
Very true.
Yes, but they also have a lot of business classes as well. So, I can get everything in a 3-day convention. It's amazing.
Yeah, and continuing education for any business, it's how you stay relevant.
Oh, yes.
Right? Because if not, you're just a trend.
Right.
Right? So you're just a trend. So it's something that's really, really cool that you just brought that up. So the next segment is we're going to talk about the big move that's coming up for you and the project that you're working on. We'll say it's fun, right?
No.
So you're moving your business from Rockland to Rockport.
Yes.
So you're moving your salon to a brand new location in Rockport sometime this year. It looks like.
Hopefully within the month.
Oh, within the month?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get into that because we know that I know that we're going to talk more about your journey on getting to this point. But what motivated you to move locations?
So it was about a year ago. I started realizing at least once a week I was getting emails or phone calls, hairdressers looking to come work for me or at our salon. I didn't have any more room for people. We were at full capacity there. I had rearranged as it was, just didn't have room anymore.
Wow.
And also, because when I started, there was only 4 stations, but plenty of room too. Not all 4 stations were filled at a time. So now we're at 6 and we're packed in, and it's so loud. We're too close. Yeah. So
that must be fun.
Yeah. So I knew I needed bigger.
Okay.
Something with bigger space. So that's when I started looking at real estate and everything just needed so much work. It didn't fit a salon.
Mm-hmm.
So they would have just needed so much work, and I didn't know if I had it in me to do it. But then I started looking at leasing. So I went through all the steps it was April, May, June. It was a long process I was going to go into the Harbor Plaza where the pet store used to be.
Okay.
It would have been ideal for me. It had the right square footage I was looking for. But I still would have had to put a lot of money into it to make it mine. And then it's not yours afterwards.
Right.
So, and we went through negotiations. I didn't realize, I've never had to rent a space. So I didn't realize what it entailed. I mean, they needed my everything, all my financials. I mean, it was like getting a loan. And I was like, what is happening? But you get approved, you get in. But then I tried negotiating because I was like, I don't make that much as a salon to pay. You're saying I do, but I don't.
Yeah.
So I weighed my options
Sure.
at that point. I had said, this is where we're going to go, this is what we're going to do. But then financially, because that's the way my brain goes, it never stops. I'm like, I don't think that's. Are you going to get the foot traffic? Are you going to get more visibility? For sure, in a place like that. But financially, it didn't make sense. So that's when I went back on the looking around. Rachel Olmsted has been fantastic. She goes with my crazy ideas and wastes a lot of time showing me stuff that I didn't love. And it was actually her one day. She's like, what about the offshore? I'm like, are you crazy? I am not running a restaurant. I'm looking for a salon. She's like, no, just come look at it.
That's funny.
Yeah. So we went and looked at it. And
Was it the disco downstairs in the basement?
it sure was.
That's
The
what's
ball's
called
not there anymore, though.
Oh, it's not.
But the red carpet on the walls is.
Okay. Well, here's the thing: is that I know nothing about. I never went to that place, but I've heard it was legendary. Like, it was a great place to go.
Random people, I'll be in there just doing something, and random people will just stop, be like, I remember back in the day, is the bar still down there? Like, it is.
Is it?
It
yeah.
is.
I've been down there, when I helped
Right.
my former client there, but I never really explored what was going down there. So I was like, it's a little dark, but anyway.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not scared. It's just, it wasn't my place to start journeying around. But anyway, so you're converting a former restaurant into your new salon. What's been the most exciting part of that transition?
Nothing. No, it is. It's all coming together now, so it's
Right.
fine. When I bought it, I was in high hopes. I also am a planner and make sure everything is done accordingly, and I'm a schedule person. I work on a schedule, so
Right.
that's the way I expect everything in my life to go. So when I bought it in the end of August, the hopes were by Thanksgiving we were going to be in there, because this was just going to be not a complete gut. It was just
Yeah.
going to be reno it to make it what I need it to be. But like any renovation, unexpected things happened, and it's become a complete gut. The only thing that's left is the walls, the exterior walls. All new everything.
Did
So-
you rebuild the bar downstairs?
That's still there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be our break room.
Okay, that's fun. That
Right?
is awesome.
Yep,
So you're going to
I'm
keep
keeping
it?
it. I am.
That's awesome.
Obviously going to have to do some reno, but
Yeah.
I'm keeping the bar, and that's going to be our break room.
That is awesome.
And hopefully someday will be an education room down there as well, that we can do classes or new techniques we've learned from somewhere else. Because a lot of people don't get to leave the state for education.
Right.
So we'd love to bring that here.
So let's talk about some of those challenges you're converting a restaurant. Obviously, that just in itself, you can't just put a booth in the kitchen. Like, the kitchen's got to go, right?
Uh-huh.
And you have all of this renovating. You've gutted everything. So that's also, you got to work with the town of Rockport
Yes.
as well, because it's right there on Route 1.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about that. How is that transition? Like, how was it working with the town of Rockport versus the town of Rockland when it comes to, again, permitting and...
Honest? Or
Yes, oh, please do.
Rockland is very difficult when you need... Not difficult. I don't know what the word would be. Not easy would be a
Okay.
better way. Rockport has been phenomenal.
Really? Okay.
Phenomenal. They have been nothing but helpful. Quick responses when somebody's in the middle of doing something and you're like, I don't know, I'm not a carpenter, or, their code enforcement is phenomenal.
Okay.
He will message me back immediately, answer the phone. It's just, Rockland, I emailed the code 2 weeks ago and I still 3 emails I've sent him, and I have not got a response yet.
Okay. Well, we have listeners. I'm
I
sure
know.
that will help with that transition for
Yes,
you. Okay.
but
So thank you.
Rockport has been phenomenal.
good.
Phenomenal.
That's great to hear. That is fantastic to hear.
Yes.
So, when you're building something like that, like you have to have a good contractor, and contractors are hard to find. So when somebody is transitioning and they have to build something out and they have to find a contractor, good luck finding someone who is reputable but also can be there for you and not years down the road.
Correct.
So what's your best practice on lining up all your contractors to make it an efficient process?
So I'm very blessed in that I've done this before. So it wasn't my first rodeo in finding people, but my best friend's husband is a carpenter, but he was so backed up that he was going to be February before he could help me.
Right.
I didn't have time for that. Because when you buy a building, you still got to pay a mortgage, you still got to pay taxes, you still got to pay everything
That's right.
that
There's
there is
no
to go with
deferment.
it.
Yeah.
And if it's not producing money, I don't make enough to support both.
Right.
It just doesn't happen. So I needed somebody quicker. So I happened to a carpenter that I knew that came into the salon. Well, his daughter, and he did, and I just asked him if he happened to have any availability. He's like, sure. So
Awesome.
he took it on, and he's a one-man show, and he's been doing fabulous.
Let's give him a plug. So
Frank Bowen,
Okay.
Patriot Builders.
Patriot Builders.
Yes.
Okay. Where are they out of?
He's in Rockland.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
He is just, he's there at 5 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock at night, works 7 days a week. He has been doing phenomenal.
Yeah, because I passed that location going to my office, and I agree. Like, it's clean outside, but he's always there. I always see that truck
always
there. So
always.
that's
He
great.
doesn't, he's amazing. And then the subcontractors, one of my great friends is an electrician, so he took it on. Ian Kirkman Mechanical, he's doing the plumbing and heating.
Okay.
Black Lab Electric is my electrician, Nate Lee. They are all, plumber and electrician, it's hard because you got the carpenter that can't move on till they get this done, but they've
Right.
got 20 other jobs going on, so, because they can't take on just me, because then they're weeks without a job while they're waiting, so, I get it.
Yeah.
So, that's what's holding, just everybody coordinating their jobs to get it, but we're on the home stretch.
So Tanya's also a project manager, it sounds like.
Yes,
So
I am. I'm a control freak, so
there's nothing wrong with that. So how will this new space reflect Salty Waves and your vision of the future? And I know that you talked a little bit about the training room, but we're talking about to your clients when they step foot. What's the vision?
the vision is the same as we've had. My vision has always been, I've worked at salons where I had to be fake. The clientele was, you had to be fake, and I didn't like it. So mine has always been, I want you to walk through that door and feel welcomed, to be yourself, no matter how yourself is, and no one's going to judge you. So we're sticking with that. So my big goal is you walk in, you feel the freshness, the welcoming, the cleanliness, the openness, but be open with, that kind in yourself. So hopefully that portrays
awesome.
through. Yes.
Now, did you know what was going on behind your new location? Do you know what's going on behind all the woods there to
No.
the waterfront? So Stuart Smith owns all
yes,
those,
yes.
and I guess there is some pretty cool stuff that's happening. So
yes, a resort is what I hear.
I don't know all the details. I'm sure that they'll share it with all of us, but it sounds like something pretty magical, which is only beneficial with your location.
I
That's
did
right
not
there.
know it when buying it, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Until I also do the architect that works for Stuart Smith's hair, her kids. So I had heard the rumor, so I asked her.
Yeah.
And she said, it's on the board, on the planning board. So, but like anybody, they said it could happen in 10 minutes. It could happen in 10 years. You never know. So,
Yeah.
so hopefully, because that would be perfect.
Yeah, because I would say is that Bayview team does some amazing work. So
yes.
beautiful, beautiful stuff. So it's good to see.
Yes.
So the next segment that we're going to get into, and I think it's one of my most favorite ones, is that it's basically, the road of of entrepreneurship and the lessons learned, and this is where the educational component comes in. It's also where sometimes the guests feel like they're just talking to a therapist, talking about all the bad things. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not a therapist. I am not licensed to be a therapist, but I love to listen, and I know that our listeners like to hear some of the lessons that you've learned as well. So as an entrepreneur, what was the biggest lesson that you learned from owning a business?
Oh, goodness. Probably that, and I still work with it, this lesson, but it's not my job to be everybody's friend and help them. I need to, at some point, think of myself and my business.
Mm-hmm.
I always try to cater to everybody else's needs, and financially, that's not always how it needs to go. So it's probably my biggest lesson is I have to worry about my business and myself.
So how do you balance that? I know, right?
Yes. It's not an easy balance. And again, it goes to the control freak thing too. Like, I have to be in control of everyone and everything usually, or it's not going to run right. That's just the way my brain works. But I realized, it was probably a year or so ago, I'm not sure. I need to release some of this and walk away from some of it, that I don't need to let it bother me anymore. So I hired a manager. Okay, now you're going to get paid to do this, because
Yep.
I don't want to deal with the feelings. And I mean, I do, but especially when you walk, people say it with men too, but you work with a pack of women, it's a lot of emotions that go through a salon in a day. So, and I'm tired. I raised 3 girls and 1 boy, and I'm tired. I'm done with the feelings.
And how many stylists have you raised as well?
Oh yes, and I love each and every one of them. But yeah, for sure.
And I know that I shared the picture of your group because I thought that was a really cool vision. Be able to have our viewers be able to see, like, this is your team, and you have a really nice sized team.
And it's about to get bigger.
Wow. So when you started out and you created Salty Waves, did you, what were some of the lessons learned in regards to structuring employees? Were they subcontractors at first? Were they renting space? How does that work?
Question. Yeah. So when I started, every place that I ever went was either booth rent or employee. You didn't have an option. And then when I opened my business, I wanted it to be everything that I didn't love or loved about salons that I had been in. So one of them, I decided they have a choice. So if you work for me, you can either be an employee or you can be a booth renter. You choose. Here's the thing with booth renting. You can't do anything, say anything to them. You can't tell them what hours to work. You can't have expectations from them. They come in, they rent their space, they can leave, come and go as they want. But it's fine. That works for some people. That worked for me when my kids were little. I'm sorry, this week I'm working 9 to 2 because I have to be the bus driver this week, or whatever sport was going on.
Yeah.
So I wanted that of flexibility for every person that walked through the door. You choose. And I wasn't hard anyway when it came to, even if you're an employee. Well, on Wednesdays I need to pick up my kid from school. Okay, you only work till 2 that day. I was very flexible.
That's so important as employers, that that work-life balance is that you have your kids for a small window of their lifetime, right? And we got to maximize it. So good.
And that's exactly with my older girls, I missed so much. I was a young mom, but hardworking, and
Yeah.
I was a single mom, so I was working 3 jobs, and I missed so much of their life. But at the time, you don't think you're missing anything. You think you're supporting them and helping, providing them with everything they need, and you have no choice. But then when I was older and had my son, by then you're in your 40s and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, my kids are almost grown up, my older ones. Like, I am not missing that with this one. So I made it a priority. Like, I am not missing anything. So, like at the first salon, one of the salons when I came over to Rockland, that was my number one thing. I am a mom first and a worker second. I will give you everything I got while I'm here. I'm not a lazy person. But there's going to be days where Little League game got canceled.
Yeah.
And sorry, it's tomorrow night at 5. I have to reschedule one of my 4 o'clock clients because I'm not missing it. And I never missed a game of his or wrestling meets, when it's 7 days a week. I never missed anything.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so I try to give that to my employees. I know how important those days are. So
That's awesome.
I just work with them. Yeah.
That's a great lesson to share, because giving your folks that flexibility, there becomes that bond that you all have, that you have that shared bond, but also too is that they appreciate that. And I'm sure that people won't take advantage of it, because if they start taking advantage of it, I'm sure that you'll let them know.
Yes, I do. But yeah, and it's not necessarily kids. It's your parents. If your parents, you just have to give them that. So I always gave them that option. And right now, I don't have any booth renters though. They're all just 2, but everybody's employee, because some people do come in and take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Say all the employees, it was their day to leave early. So you can't expect the booth renter to stay till 5 o'clock to close up. So I need somebody to be there to close up at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
We can all decide who that's going to be, but, and it's usually me. But I can now.
Yeah.
But I can now. My kids are grown and I have the time now.
Good.
I'm tired, but I have the time.
Yes, ma'am. I get it. So what advice would you, actually, before we step back, so you're going from 6, you have 6 now?
Yes.
So what's the plan? Like how
12.
12. So you're doubling your staff. All right. What advice would you give someone that is they're a renter, like they're renting their space? Like how does someone make that decision of making the leap of faith to actually invest in their real estate versus renting?
So, there's pros and cons to both. Renting, if you can find a good price to rent, you're fine. Do you mean per booth? Like if you were a booth renter,
No, I meant like, so you're the owner.
Okay.
And you're renting a space, and so you're renting, let's just say the Old County location you're renting, right? And so now you found this place in Rockport and you want to buy it. So like, what makes you, what caused that? And I know you talked a little bit about it, like you were about to rent and then you've said, no way, I want to own. And I'm sure it's comparable, because real estate's not cheap to buy. So how did you make that decision?
In that sense, literally the mortgage though was half of what the rent was going to be. And that was a triple net that I was going into, and a lot of people don't know what that means. If that boiler broke in a rental space, you have to pay for that. There's nothing included, so you still have. If I was going to rent, it would have been for a place that, if the boiler went, it's on them. But none of that was included in the triple net leases. You have to pay for even though you're in their parking lot, you still have to pay your share of all the lawn maintenance and the plowing and everything. So I thought, if I'm going to do all that, why wouldn't I just, all this money that I'm paying, go to something I'm going to own?
Yeah.
So it just financially, yes, probably the same at the end of the day, by the time you pay your taxes and insurances and everything else. But at least, again, at the end of the day, you have equity in something. All that money paying out is to something you're going to own and could eventually sell. And especially after renovating, hopefully I've got equity in this building.
Yeah, and it's so important. You know, I know that you had mentioned Rachel before, but it's so important to have a good relationship with your realtor.
For
and
sure.
You know, and I know she's a rock star out there, and
She sure is.
Because I think she helped your son too.
She did.
Yeah.
She just helped him buy a home.
Which is exciting. So having that vision, sharing that vision with your partners, the people that you're working with out there to help find that right location probably helps too.
Oh yes. Oh
Yeah,
yes.
that's
For
awesome.
sure.
Good. So how do you balance staying creative in your craft while managing the demands of running a business? So, I mean, you're about to go to 12 people. I know you got a manager. So how do you balance it? Because I know you still practice, right?
Mm-hmm, I am. I'm behind the chair full time.
So how?
I don't know.
Okay.
At
I'd love to,
9 o'clock at night, you're answering emails or you're ordering more supplies, or you figure it out. You do it. I don't have an office at the salon, so that's what I'm most excited about. I have an office at the new salon.
Yeah.
Because right now my office is out in the break room at the salon. So, I bring everything thinking this is what I'm going to do in between clients, and it's not like that. We're out of this, we're out of that. So I get more done sitting in my car with my laptop than anywhere, but that's okay. Or at home at 9 o'clock at night when my phone stops ringing and the emails stop coming through. You just do it when you can.
Yeah. So when you're talking, when you have a full plate like that, I know so many businesses, business owners that are in that same position. They're doing everything, and they don't have that manager, so they're doing the job.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing the bookkeeping, and they're doing all these things. So, as a business owner, when do you say, I'm not a bookkeeper,
That was quick for me.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about that. So how is that? Because that was probably a lesson learned too. Is
Yes.
that it's not fun doing your books.
No, and I was before I did hair, I was an office manager, bookkeeper, so I knew what I was doing, but I realized that is not, I'm not going to be able to add that, because it's very time consuming.
Sure.
I'm not going to be able to add that to my plate of things to do. Because at the time I still had 3 kids at home when I opened this. I just realized I've got to find somebody else to do this for me. So, but at first you're so scared of what can I afford, what can I not afford. But yeah, I've never attempted to do, probably for about the first 6 months I tried it, and then I put it on to everybody else.
Yeah, because I think that a lot of small businesses, when they make that leap of faith of saying, wait a second, I'm spending a lot of time doing this. Either I'm missing out on my family, or I'm missing out on growing my business.
Correct.
Because I'm taking this time and I don't think people realize the value of their time. Like,
exactly.
when you're doing bookkeeping for 2 hours, how much business have you lost when you're not, in your booth?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. And I recommend to anybody that's trying to think about or wondering if they should open a business or what expenses should I have. Oh, put that in your budget.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's very time consuming.
It is.
Very time consuming.
Yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate you bringing that. So let's talk about what's next for Salty Waves. So obviously your new space, you have a bunch of new employees. So you're talking about some really exciting things downstairs in the old, the old bar room. But I'd love to hear about the next steps. Maybe that. Are you going to do a grand opening? So yeah.
Yes, we will do a grand opening. The goal is to make it so successful that I don't have to work behind the chair anymore. That's the number one goal, is to have a successful business that I don't have to work so hard at, that I can just work maybe 2 days a week eventually the plan is to be a snowbird. So
Okay.
yes.
So did you really like Florida that much?
Oh, I love Florida. I have a house down there.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yes.
Well, I grew up in Central Florida, so
Oh, in Central. Yes, I hit East Central.
yeah.
I'm on the southwest coast.
Oh,
so,
there you go.
Yeah, and I can't afford to have it, so I have to Airbnb it.
Which is another smart.
But
so,
that's just the way my brain works.
well, let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to. You have success, right? And you have to be able to treat yourself, and that treatment sounds like you invested in something down there that also generates income.
It does.
So we'll call that your side hustle, and that is a trend on almost every single person that's on this show as an entrepreneur. Is
Really?
that we are hustlers.
We are.
Mainers are hustlers.
I
So
flip houses.
okay.
Yeah. I'm always looking for more real estate and buy, sell. And I think that's my true calling, is to be just to flip houses, to be a designer, but I don't have time for it.
Okay. All right.
But it is what,
All right.
in September I had, I think, 4 different projects going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we're gonna have Rachel on the show sometime
Oh,
in the near
good.
future.
She'll talk about how crazy I am.
Yeah, but it's funny. Who knows? Maybe she's going to talk about how she's got this future, realtor on her team that's going to be selling some real estate down in Florida for
but
them.
yeah,
so.
she, yeah. So I realized that I do want to be a snowbird. I hate the winters. My husband loves the winters, so it's kind of but we're okay with it.
Yeah.
I go down south all by myself. He goes up north all by himself. We're good.
Everybody's happy.
Yeah, so I
That's
realized
awesome.
the only way to live that dream was to buy a place, because I was spending all this money renting places. So we just bought a place and I rent it out, and so then it ends up costing me nothing.
Okay.
Just make enough to pay for it.
Good for you. Good for you. So you got the new office or the new salon. So when do you expect to be in there again?
Well, I was told by Friday it'll be done, but I was in there yesterday. We had like 12 people in us, because all of the salon equipment has been sitting in the basement, and it hasn't gotten put together. So there was like a dozen of us putting it all together yesterday. There's no way, but we'll see.
Okay.
But from that point, the plumber still has to put all his stuff in, because he was waiting for the floors. The
Yeah.
carpenter's job will be done this week.
Okay. So carpenter will be done, and so we're probably looking at a grand opening sometime in February, you think?
Oh, heck no. So I'm leaving for Florida Saturday. I've got to wait for all the permits to go through.
Yes, ma'am.
So
This is true.
I was supposed to be gone for 5 weeks this year.
Okay.
I've been upping it a week every year.
Good
So
for
this
you.
week was at 5 weeks this year, I mean. But I canceled it because of this. But I am still going to go for 2. And now I'm trying to get everything done by this weekend so that I can do all the permits and wait for all of them. So while I'm down there for 2 weeks instead of 5, all that can be taken care of. So I'm hoping and praying by March 1st we'll be in there, up
Okay.
and running. Might not be perfect. All the siding might not be done on the building. But at least the interior will be done and all the permits available. And then I'm hoping by mid-March, grand opening.
Okay. Well, you got to let us know
I will.
because you'll be in the Camden area business group, like their area. So definitely look. But we're gonna do a ribbon cutting. We have to do a ribbon cutting.
Okay, perfect.
And that way we can just celebrate your grand opening. So
Yay.
we'll share that on the show. So you'll do that for us.
Perfect.
All right. So just I'd like to, I would just say today we've learned a lot about your journey. We've talked a lot about, starting from the ground up and understanding that sometimes it just takes time to be able to realize your dream of being an entrepreneur and having your own business. And you've done that, and you've bought, instead of, renting, you bought a building. And instead of renting again, you decide that, no,
Right.
I'm gonna invest in another one. You have a beautiful vision. You have 12 employees, which is great for the economy.
Yes.
And that is really, really exciting. So how can people learn more about Salty Waves and your story?
Through our website,
Okay.
saltywaysalon.net, has a lot of our visions and missions and services.
Okay.
Facebook, of course, is always. Instagram. That's not on me. That's on the girls because I don't have time for that. But yes, you can learn a lot about our work, our everything that we do and offer.
Okay. Awesome.
And we're always starting new things, offering new things as well as we learn new things.
Okay. And are you accepting new clients?
We are. I personally do not. I'm at max, but everybody else does. And I do. I shouldn't say I don't. If somebody that I've been doing for 20 years, best friend has moved to Maine and she only will trust me, then I will. But I do not accept new clients unless you know somebody.
That's a wonderful problem to have.
It sure is. It sure is.
Yeah, but that just speaks to your craft on how good you are, but also, your clients must absolutely adore you too. You built a lot of friendships, I'm
I
sure.
sure have.
Yeah.
I mean, when I go to
important.
Florida, I visit, my snowbirds. We get together and have lunch, and it's great.
Now, do they say, hey, can you help me out here?
No.
Good.
Thank
That's
goodness.
good boundary.
Yes.
That's good. That's a great thing.
Yes.
And it's so important when people are on vacation. Like, we have a couple more minutes. So we talked about the vacation. I know that we're bringing back something to talk about, but I think it's so important to talk about. So when you step away for your evenings and your weekends, like, what is the best practice that you can share with folks to separate business and just disconnect and enjoy your time when you're gone? Can you do it?
No.
No. A lot of people don't realize that.
No. Because I've become friends with them. So one of my biggest things too is I took myself off online booking because on our system you can't say you had to be a recurring client in order to book with Tanya. So I just took myself off online booking, which kind of stinks for a lot of my clients because that's how they booked.
Gotcha.
So they have to call or text me.
Gotcha.
So there's no in between. So when they used to sit down after they got out of work and at 10 o'clock they remembered, I can't book online anymore. What do? They text you. So, but it's fine. I've given them that information and I've become their, there's a reason they have my cell phone number. We're friends. So,
that's fantastic.
Yeah. But there's no limit there. You can't just shut it off.
No, and being a business owner or running a small business, like, the employees go home, the business still is there, you're tied to the business. But also too, there are times though you have to disconnect and say,
yes.
I'm sure that you're down in Florida.
I get more work done down there than I do at home.
Really?
Oh,
okay.
Because I'm a morning person anyway, so I get up with my coffee, bring my laptop out to the lanai, and I can get so much work done, more than I can dream about here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tanya, thank you so much, and we'll be sure to share with on our Facebook post. We'll do a recap and we'll repost this on our YouTube channel, and we'll make sure that we put some links to your business so folks will be able to do that. Thank you so much for joining me, Tanya. We've known each other for a few years now.
Yes.
You're a client of mine as well, and I appreciate your business, but also you're doing some amazing things, and I can't wait to see my neighbor up the road, up the road from me, with a beautiful new building. I can't wait to be there to celebrate that with you. All right, listeners. So I would just say is that we have a really we're starting to fill up our calendar with great guests such as Tanya. Next week we have Fletcher McNobo. She's going to be on the show, which I'm really looking forward to having Fletcher on the show. But we are really booking quickly. So if you are an entrepreneur, someone who supports an entrepreneur, I would love for you to be on the show. Just reach out to us on our Facebook page, and you could just simply just let us know your dates available, and we'll try to squeeze you in. But this is a great opportunity for people to be able to share the story, inspire others, and really, really help the masses in entrepreneurship. And I'll just say it's really, really tough out there being an entrepreneur, and it's so helpful having someone like you you're so busy, and thank you again for taking the time to be on the show to share your journey.
I'm very honored that you asked me.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Well, please make sure to if you are someone who would like to support WRFR, I would say is that please do. Please reach out to the station if you would like to sponsor a show. If you'd like to sponsor the station, it's very economical ways to be able to do so because we have something really, really special right here in Rockland. So everyone have a wonderful day, wonderful week. We'll see you next Tuesday at 7 a.m. Stay warm, everyone. Thank you.